months without any interest. Starting at 95,000, you can own an elegant apartment. And guess what? Discounts are available from now till end of May. To learn more, visit our website at daimlerhomesgh.com or call us on 0200 584 558. Daimler Homes, the elegance of living.
Me did the young antechua, and maybe I'm discovered for Europe. I come a bush for Ghana. No, me used to tap send, tap send. No fee mobile money transfer. A easy, a convenient, a fast, and sounds so free. Won't you share? Me discover a map him. Tap send. Ain't also download the tap send app. No, ever mobile phone so free. The first come a bush for Ghana for na. Tap send. Papa no.
And we'll try to cover everything today. We will have a part 2 next week, so hopefully, fingers crossed, if I'm not able to answer your question today, I should be able to get to it for next week. So having said that, we almost cancelled the show, but we thought, you know what, we've got so many faithful watchers who are waiting for us to do the show today, so we're not going to cancel, and we're just going to do, even if it's 30 minutes, I'm sure it will be information that will be useful to all of you. So having said that, my name is Dr. Akos, and I'm going to be your host and your guest for today, and we are going to cover kidney disease today. And before we start, I'd just like to thank, as I said before, all of our faithful watchers who are here every time, on time, 8 o'clock every Wednesday, for the OT Health talk. All our followers who watch us on YouTube and Facebook as well, we have not forgotten you. We know you're there. So again, thank you so much for being faithful. And then last but not least, we'd like to thank TAPTAP Send for sponsoring this show each and every time. So thank you so much. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm going to try and share my screen. Host, if you can please help me share my screen. It says I can't share it. But essentially, we're going to talk about kidney disease. We split it up into 2 parts. We've got chronic kidney disease, which is known as CKD, and we've got acute kidney injury, which is AKI. AKI, I'm not going to talk about today. We'll probably cover that next week. And that's because AKI is something that you often get when you end up in hospital. So it's really not, it's really not something that you need to look out for or anything. A lot of the time, it's medical professionals who learn about this, and we will look out for it whenever anybody is admitted. Also, we tend to, it's very unlikely that you'll get an AKI, or even if you did get it, it's very unlikely that you will see any symptoms from it because it's literally an acute kidney injury. It's just acutely. So usually if you get dehydration, you can get it as well, but it's something that I'm not going to talk about today. CKD, chronic kidney disease, is what I'm going to talk about. I still can't share my screen, host. If you can help me share my screen, or I'm just going to go through my slides anyway, and then when I share my screens, I'll come back. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to share my screen. Okay, I think I'm able to do it now. So let me know if you can see my screen. Yep, there you go. Brilliant. So my slides today are from the Council, National Kidney Foundation. As you know, I never do my slides myself, so I've always got to give pros to whoever does them. So National Kidney Foundation for the slideshows, I'm going to talk about this. So it just talks about some important things to know, why we need to learn about kidneys. Kidneys are very important, especially in these day and age. I've been hearing that in Ghana, it's probably becoming the 2nd or 3rd most most prominent disease to probably worry about after stroke and heart disease. I think kidney disease is the next thing. There's a lot of people going on dialysis, so it's really important to cover. I don't know, I'm just saying Ghana because I don't know about other African countries, but I can imagine that it's probably the same across the West African side. So how does the kidneys work? And I'm going to zoom into this picture so we can see. There are sort of 5 stages of how the kidney works. So number 1 is when blood basically, this picture here is a picture of the kidney. You can see the 2 tubes, and the one has got the arrow coming in and arrow going out. So the one with the arrow coming in is basically blood coming into the kidneys. The bean-shaped thing that looks like a kidney piece is basically the kidneys. And then the tubes going, there's thin tubes going out of that into your bladder at the bottom there is basically the ureter, and that's where urine passes. So essentially how the kidney works is it filters out your blood. The first step is blood enters the kidney through this tube here. Second step is the blood is then cleaned. When I say cleaned, so if you think about everything that you eat, what your body needs, what your body doesn't need, the water, the sodium, potassium, all the electrolytes, the salts, it passes through the kidneys, all the toxins, it passes through the kidneys. Then your kidneys will basically take out what it needs back into the body. So it filters your blood, it takes back the salts, it takes back the water, and then it leaves the waste product called urea. And that's what then goes through the third stage with your ureter. And it goes into your bladder. And as you know, the bladder then connects to your sort of your urethra, and then that's where you pee out of. So that's sort of the stages of what the kidney does, and it's very important to know this. I'm just again going to try and I can't see my screen at the same time, but there's some feedback coming back, so please put your video on mute if you're able to. Okay, fine. So I've already talked about what the kidney does. It regulates your hormone, balances flow, all that stuff. Filtering is the main thing.
Is it dry on the bottom?
So can I please get somebody to mute? I'm struggling to do this. Yeah. Mute. Okay. Here we go. All right. So what is chronic kidney disease? It's when your kidneys start to lose the ability to filter the blood. So the job that the kidney is supposed to do, which is to filter the blood, the kidney starts to lose the ability to do that. And what causes it? So as you can see on my slides here, we've kind of in this show, we've been through diabetes, we've talked about high blood pressure. These are some of the main things that affect the African population, and these are the top things that are the causes of kidney disease, so it's important to keep an eye on that. It can be inherited, so oftentimes they say that if kidney disease runs in your family, then it's likely that you will get kidney disease as well. Some medications are prone to causing you to have kidney diseases. And then autoimmune disease just means a condition where your body fights against itself. So in this case, your body can fight against the kidneys for some unknown reason. Again, that can happen. Congenital just means conditions where you're born with it. So if you think about congenital kidney disease, some people are born without kidneys or just with one kidney or without functioning kidneys. That's congenital. And then the last one, glomerulonephritis, is basically an inflammation of the kidneys. So these are some of the top causes of kidney disease. How is it diagnosed? Again, it's often through blood tests. So a lot of the time, some people, you can have kidney disease in the very early stages of it and not actually know that you've got it. So I'll go through the symptoms in a minute, but that's again why I say it's so important, especially the older you get, the more important it is to do this annual blood test that I talk about, or annual checkup with your GPs, because this is mainly picked up on blood tests. I've had so many patients that I've said, oh, you've got kidney disease, and they've said, oh, I didn't know that. And we've done a random blood test, or we've done they're diabetic and we're doing their annual blood test, and we'll check and we find out that actually they've got some kidney problems. So it's important to do annual blood tests if you can. A urine test can tell as well. What a urine test can tell us that you've got kidney disease. It can just tell us there's something wrong with your kidneys, and then we can do the blood test to further check. So again, a urine dip test and things like that. If the blood tests come back and they're a bit deranged, or there's something wrong with the blood test, then we'll order for some imaging. It's often an ultrasound of the kidneys. If the ultrasound of the kidneys come out and we feel like there's something wrong with the kidneys, then we'll do a biopsy. So all these tests are just saying it's almost stepwise to what usually happens. Not everybody with kidney disease will have a kidney biopsy. Only if we're really concerned that there's something, then we'll do a kidney biopsy. So again, these are just some of the the tests that we can do to diagnose it, but doesn't mean that we do all of them. And if you do have kidney disease and you've not had a biopsy, then it's probably a good thing, because it means that you're not at the stage where we need to do a biopsy. So CKD for the ages, if you think about it, the older you are, the more likely that your kidney function is going to go down. And that's the same with all your bodily function. If you think about all our organs, the older you are, the more likely your heart is going to be a bit more weary, or your liver, your kidneys, all our organs, the older you, in the same way that you age and your skin becomes wrinkly and you become more tired, and aging happens to everything, it happens to all our organs. So the same thing happens to the kidneys. And a brand new baby today will have like 100% kidney function, given that everything is normal and they don't have any of that congenital things we talked about. Will have 100% kidneys. At the age of 30, your kidneys will probably be maybe around 90%. At the age of 50, it'll probably be around somewhere like 80%. So it does go with age, the kidneys function just goes down, and that's normal. Depending on how well you look after your kidneys, your kidney function could be a bit more maintained. So how much water you're drinking, what kind of diet you have, the exercise you do, this can all help prolong that natural aging process of the kidney. So it's important to know. Again, there's a question that says, is kidney function different based on gender? There have been some studies. How, I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know how the most up-to-date information on that. And then the last one says, is one of my kidneys working better than the other? Again, it's difficult to tell unless when we do the kidney test, we don't test for several different we don't test for different kidneys, we test for all your kidneys together. So unless we then go for further imaging, ultrasound, biopsies, things like that, we won't actually know if one kidney is working better than the other. So it's important to note. I'm going to touch on the GFR. GFR is important because I've talked about this on this show before, that previously GFR did not used to take in the race factor. So GFR used to be is the calculation for how well your kidneys are doing. Previously, they were really bad for Black people because they didn't take into account the effects of race. Black people tend to have more muscle, which makes us have more of a substance called creatinine. The GFR is calculated on your urea and creatinine. So a lot of the time, Black people were getting falsely higher GFR readings, which means that we were being missed for kidney disease because we were saying, oh, your kidney is normal. The higher your GFR, the more normal your kidney is. So your normal, if you look on the slide, it says 90 or higher is fine. Less than 90 is still okay, but oh gosh. Am I back, guys? Yep. Okay. Less than 90 is still okay. Up until about 60. I think when it drops below 60, that's when we get a bit concerned about it. Again, I'll go through the numbers in a minute. But essentially, before we were not taking the race factor, but now we do take in the race factor. So now the GFR is calculated with the race factor, the Black creatinine in mind. Again, I've gone through all these already, so I'm not going to go through, but it does get lower with age, it gets lower with kidney disease, and it helps determine what stage your kidney is in. So if you look at this table, beautiful table we have here, I'm not going to dwell on this table, but it just tells you we've got several stages of kidney disease. So if you look on the left side where it says GFR, you've got your normal, mildly decreased, moderately decreased. This is a table that just helps us health professionals to sort of rank where your kidney is. So if you're in the green box, you're safe. If you're in the yellow, that's orange box. Well, the yellow box is not too bad, but if you're in the orange box, then we're starting to tread on caution here. And if you're in the red box, then you're really not in a good space. So essentially, you want your GFR to be above 60. And if you look, that's around the yellowy, greeny stage. If it starts to drop below 60, we start to get worried. If it drops below, if it's 15 or below 15, then you're in the red zone, and that's really when we start to worry. So that's all you need to pick up from that slide. Kidney disease stages, we're going to talk about stage 4 and stage 5 today, because stage 1, 2, 3 we're not too worried about. Again, that's when you're in sort of that yellow orange stage 1, 2, 3, you're in that yellow orange bit of things. Stage 4, 5 is when you're in the red bit of things. So that's what I want to talk about today. The goal of sort of treating CKD is to prevent further loss of, especially when you're stage 4, because stage 5 is sort of the end stage. So at stage 4, the goal of treatment is prevent or slow down the loss of kidney function and to treat the complications of kidney disease. So what you need to do in order to do that: diet and fluid. Your kidney literally loves water. It drives on water, and if that's what stops you from getting things like kidney stones. It stops you from dehydration and things we know really mess up the kidneys. So it's important to have a diet which is healthy for your kidneys. You want a diet which is low in sodium, low in protein, low in carb, low in the things that I mentioned on the slides, because that can sort of knock your kidneys off. Malnutrition again can no. So if you have kidney disease, you can get malnutrition, because again, if you think about it, your kidney is not able to filter, which means whenever you're eating, the things that your kidney is supposed to filter and draw back into the blood is actually not able to do that. So you're losing a lot of nutrients from your urine. So that can lead to things like anemia. It can lead to things like symptoms of anemia, like tiredness, dizziness, weight loss. So that's what the slide is about. There are some medications that can knock off your kidneys, and this is what the slide is about. But again, I'm not going to talk about that. A lot of the time when people have kidney diseases, we tend to stop a lot of their medication. So people who are on diuretics for blood pressure or for heart failure, we tend to not use such medications. Any potassium tablets, things like that, we tend to say stop eating salt at all. My advice to everybody, even before you get kidney disease, is just stop eating salt. Honestly, salt is like problematic. But yeah, so controlling your blood pressure, things like that. So it's important to do those things. And I'm just going to, again, skip through this because it'll be the same thing for CKD5. Yeah, so I'm just going to go straight to CKD5, which is here. So CKD5, as I talked about, was your end stage, which is basically kidney failure. Now, on the slide, it says, despite the best treatment and your best efforts, some people can still end up having their kidneys fail. So just because you're doing all the right things and you end up getting kidney failure, some people just have it. Some people are just predisposed to it. As I spoke about before, this can be inherited. So it's something that you need to keep an eye on. Some people come into the hospital and say, I've done everything right. I eat my 5 a day. I drink a lot of water. I exercise, but I've never smoked in my life, never drank alcohol in my life, but I've still ended up with this. And oftentimes they're looking for answers, and it's answers that we cannot give, because the best thing you can do for yourself is, yes, live a healthy lifestyle, but sometimes that doesn't mean that you can't end up getting these things. So it's just to be mindful of as well, but still encourage you to do all the right things. Okay. So yeah, when you've got kidney failure, this is when basically you've lost 85 to 90% of your kidney function, and that means your kidney's it's literally not working at all, and you're having constant toxins in your body, and this can be very, very fatal. So what we need to basically replace your kidney. So the optimal treatment for that would be a kidney transplant. But as you know, a kidney costs an arm and a foot, and you can't even buy a kidney. You have to be put on a list for a kidney transplant, and sometimes you can stay on that list for a very, very long time and not have not match up with anybody on the list. So in the meantime, that's when we do dialysis. We've got 2 types. I think there's actually 3 types of dialysis, but the 2 most famous ones are peritoneal dialysis and hemodialysis. The difference between the 2 is hemodialysis is in the name. Heme just means blood, and is basically where we replace. So you have a machine, you've got tubes that connect your blood vessels to the machine, and basically we redirect all your blood into the machine. The machine does the kidney's job, so the machine filters the blood and then it pumps it back into your body. So it's actually really fascinating if you think about it. If you've seen dialysis before, literally a person's whole blood passes through that machine, and it can take 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 hours, depending on what settings it is, depending on how big the person is, depending on age, because kids can go on dialysis as well. And I think it needs to be done every day, or depending on how badly, some people need to do it twice a day. That hemodialysis is something that if you're on hemodialysis, you cannot work. It affects the life quite drastically, because essentially, if you don't filter your blood even one day, it can be life-threatening. And if you think about spending at least an average of 6 to 8 hours connected to a machine every day, it leaves you not much time to do a lot of things. So some people opt for something called peritoneal dialysis, and what that does is it basically you connect a bag to your kidneys and your abdomen, and oftentimes people do it at night. So again, you need to do that every day. Your healthcare worker will take you through all of that, but essentially a lot of people connect it when they're going to sleep. So they do it at night with connect up to the peritoneal bag at night. It acts on an osmosis basis. It's a lot of pathophysiology that I'm not going to get into, but it's not a machine. It's literally just filters out all the fluid in the body. It's not blood, it's basically peritoneal fluid. So it replaces that, it filters it out. And oftentimes you can do that at home. People go to bed, they do it at night, they fall asleep. It takes 12 hours, it's done in the morning, they're okay. And you can sort of continue life with that. The options for peritoneal and hemodialysis can be offered to some people, but unfortunately, some people are too far gone that they cannot have peritoneal dialysis at all. Their only option is hemodialysis or a renal transplant. So again, I just wanted to spend some time on that because I think it's important to understand the treatments for kidney failure. Symptoms of CKD, again, is very non-specific to the kidneys. Oftentimes it starts with things like nausea, trouble sleeping, some poor appetite, just feeling really lethargic. So if you think about, we talked about anemia, because when your kidneys go off, kidneys make a hormone called erythropoietin, and that's the sort of the baseline to making blood. So when your kidneys are not working, you're not making erythropoietin, which means that you're not making enough blood, which means you end up getting anemia. So when you've got anemia, you get sort of anemia symptoms, but essentially it can take a while before we diagnose kidney symptoms. So you can have all these symptoms that are here, which don't really point to the kidneys if you think about it. Weight loss, cramping, abdominal bleeding. I mean, it's not really a kidney thing, is it? But these are the kind of symptoms that you can have. So it's just worth knowing and keeping an eye on. What is life like with CKD? It's difficult to say. It depends, as I say, but you can live a normal life, depending on, well, relatively normal, depending on what kind of, what stage of CKD you have. So if you've got CKD 1, 2, 3, you can live a very normal life. If you've got 4, again, you can live a normal life. You just need to be very, very mindful of the things you do to help to make sure you don't progress to CKD 5. But at end stage kidney failure, your life can be quite changed by that. Even with peritoneal dialysis, as much as you can live a normal life with that. You can think about every night having to connect yourself to sort of a device to help filter your blood. It's a lot of, it's very time consuming, and it can be very upsetting for some people. So it's some things that we need to take into consideration. I've got some questions down here that I will come to if nobody has any questions, but I probably want to end my talk here. I just wanted to go back to here because I talked about sort of your feelings and emotions and CKD, and depression and CKD is really real. And if I just want to reach out to anybody on the show, if you've got kidney disease and you're going through some emotional ups and downs, that is normal. It can be normal, but I just want you to know that there is support for you, because we do recognize depression in CKD, and not only does your kidney sort of regulate some of your hormones and balance your hormones, so that can obviously affect your depression and your mood, but having CKD can also cause real bad mood disturbances. So if you're going through any sadness or irritability, crying more than usual, less interest in what you used to do, not wanting to go out with friends, staying home all the time, loss of appetite, weight loss, thoughts of giving up, suicidal thoughts, just feeling overwhelmed, anything, anxiety. Some people get social anxiety, don't want to don't want to hang out with anybody. If you've got any of these signs, all these symptoms, please do reach out to a health professional. I'm happy for you to reach out to me as well, and then we can help you, because depression and CKD is real, and it does affect a lot of people, especially if you're on dialysis or on some really treatment that takes a lot of your time. I think, having said that, I probably want to end the talk on this note. I will take any questions if there are questions, but thank you so much for, again, all our faithful watchers for listening and being here and spending the time with us today. And thanks for having patience for me today as I basically host and run this show by myself. So yeah, no, thank you. I think we'll do a quick advert now, and then we'll come back with questions. Thank you.
Me did the young antechua, and maybe I'm discovered for you, Pakuma Busia for Ghana. No, me used to tap send, tap send. No fee mobile money transfer. Easy, convenient, fast, and sounds so free. Me discover ye map him. Tap send. NTN also download the tap send app no ever mobile phone so free. Na first ka komo abusuya for Ghana fa na nyina. Tap send. Papa no.
If you're looking to buy real estate right here in Ghana, you're looking to buy a property in Ghana, and you are a diaspora, and of course, one of the most important factors you also think about is your security. Then if security is your paramount, one of your paramount factors in considering whether to buy a property or not, and of course, you have to consider some of the prime neighborhoods right here in Ghana, because of course those prime neighborhood comes with a very high level of security in terms of your properties and life. And those areas of course includes East Legon, it includes Airport, it includes Chado, it includes Adrengano, it includes Ridge, it includes Joel, and so many other beautiful neighborhoods. Now those neighborhoods, trust me, they are prime and they are safe and conducive for people or environment or family looking to actually relocate back here in Ghana. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a property inside West Trosako, which is also considered as a very safe neighborhood for you to actually look at considering buying a property.
Whitewall Properties has all your property needs at amazing prices. Our unique development includes our flagship project, Arlington Court, which has a panoramic view covering several acres of a grass skyline. Some of our standard features include our gorgeous swimming pool, fitness centre, and a communal garden.
Hello, and welcome back to the show. As I said today, I'm Dr. Akosua, and I'm your host and your guest for today. So again, thank you for taking time to sort of understand that things will be a little bit slower today. But thank you all for coming here and being on time. I am ready to take questions. Amma, please, if you can hear me, your hand is up.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kos. Thank you for the session. My question is relating to the herbal medications that should I say people or Africans do take.
Yep.
I've heard that some are very good. I mean, one of the ones that I heard was is it neem tree during the COVID? Apparently, it was going around that it was very good and it cures. It was curing the COVID. But rather, later on, I also heard that it's causing a lot of issues, kidney issues for Ghanaians. So, can you throw more light on or advise us as to what to do, taking herbal medication and then the effect on our kidneys.
So again,
sorry, before I allow you to say something, I've spoken to quite a few people, and a couple of them have told me that they've been advised not to take because of the medications that they are on, that they shouldn't take all these herbal teas and all this sobolo and all sorts. So if you can just show more light, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Auntie Amma, for your question. I always say when it comes to sort of answering questions on the herbal, I think that's probably one of the most difficult questions that I always face, and that's because it's difficult for me to know every effect of every single herbal remedy out there or every single sort of extract out there. Like everything, there are positives and there are negatives of using them. So, for example, neem tree definitely has its positive effects, and sobolo and all those other herbal extracts definitely have their positive effects. And just like even fruits and vegetables as well, they've all got their positive effects. However, they also have their negative effect. And until I don't know each individual one. What I do know, and again, I don't know if this is confirmed medical information, but I have heard or read that neem tree in some studies with rats have been shown to actually be protective against the kidneys. However, in other studies with humans, it's been said that they actually cause kidney stone formation and can be bad for your kidneys. So obviously the studies in rats are showing different things to study to actual effects in humans, and I guess it depends on how it was taken as well, because too much of everything is bad. Even if you think about medication that we give you as doctors, we give you diuretics. Diuretics are incredibly useful for things like heart failure and fluid retention, and I love diuretics, I do, because how quickly they work. If somebody comes to the hospital and they've got fluid on their lungs and you give them a bit of furosemide, within 30 minutes to an hour they are breathing normally again, or you know that they're breathing a bit better. But at the same time, we need to think about how bad furosemide is for your kidneys and how bad it can be, because it essentially affects water. So like everything, it's got its positives and its negatives, doesn't it? So my top advice would be, if you're taking anything, take it in moderation. That's number one. Number two, if you know that you've got kidney problems, then I would stay away from taking herbal remedies, especially because we don't actually know how some of them work, especially when it comes to the kidneys. We've had a lot of talk about how we know herbal remedies are bad, can be bad for the kidneys, but we don't know about all of them. Some people are on like 10 different ones. Morning you're taking sobolo, evening you're taking bitter leaf, afternoon you're taking neem tea. I mean, as much as they all have health benefits, but I mean, that's a lot for your kidney to take. So if you're going to pick, at least pick one, you know. But yeah, so Auntie Amma, it's difficult to answer the question, as I say, but I think it's just be cautious with it, you know, whenever you take these herbal remedies. And thanks for the question, as always. I've got a question in the chat which says, what is the major cause of kidney disease? I think I went through the slide when I said in terms of the major cause that I can think of for the African population would be things like high blood pressure and diabetes. So sort of comorbidities which lead to kidney disease. That's the main ones that I can think about. But again, the major cause for sort of acute kidney injury, which I didn't talk about before, is things like dehydration and things like infection. And we know that after having an AKI, once your kidneys have been, you know, damaged, if it's not treated and left untreated, it can lead to sort of long-term problems. So having said that, I think for somebody who hasn't got diabetes or any high blood pressure or, you know, things like that, any heart conditions, dehydration is probably one of the most important factors for your kidneys. Your kidneys love water. The best medication for your kidneys is just to drink water. 2 liters of water, I think, on average, female and men. Men, I think, is 2.5. I can't remember. But literally, for a 60 to 70 kg a woman, 2 to 3 liters of water a day that's basically medication. It's going to be better than any herbal remedy you're ever going to take for your kidneys. That's the way to save your kidneys. So that would be sort of my answer to that question. I hope that answers your question, Ifwa. I don't know, I'm reading if it's a comment or question, but again, just to sort of remind everybody, You can ask questions specifically about kidneys or any health questions at all. We've got about 10 minutes left. I'll do my best to answer all the questions that I can. And yeah, no, once again, thanks for all being here. So Nancy says, Dr. Ako's dialysis, is it similar to exchange transfusion? My eldest son is sickle cell anemia back in 2015. He was diagnosed with renal condition and started having exchange transfusion every 6 weeks. It's similar in a way, but not the same. So, if you remember what I said about dialysis is something that has to be had on a daily basis. That's number one. With dialysis as well, you're using your own blood. It's not somebody else's blood. So it's basically your own blood running through the machine, coming back into your body because your kidneys cannot do the job. So the dialysis machine is basically like your kidneys. It becomes your kidneys. So your whole body, all the blood in your body comes out, but doesn't come out at the same time. If not, of course, you'll die. So it comes out, you've got a tube in your hand, goes into the machine, blood flows into the machine, filters through the machine, comes back into your body. And that's how dialysis works. Exchange transfusion is different in a way that I think it's not your own blood, I think, and also because it's every 6 weeks. So this is probably the most the two different components of it. I'm sure there are others as well, but these are probably the two main ones. I hope that answers your question, Nancy. I've seen Anima, you have your hand up, so I'm going to come to Anima, and then I'll come back to Letty in the chat, and then I'll come to Patricia. So Anima.
Thank you so much, Doug. My question is, I have an aunt, kind of like auntie. I'm in Austria right now, and she has kidney, I think, stage 5 already, because she's under 20% of the function. So I always do the translation for her because of the language and everything. And I was told that at the stage 5, that she should drink less water and also avoid orange juices and all of those stuff. Can you please put a little bit light on that as well, if I got it right from what the doctors were saying?
No, 100%.
Thank you so much.
100%. And I think I think that I've actually forgot to mention that, which is a very important factor. So as much as your kidneys love water, when you start to get into sort of the CKD5 stage, so the kidney failure stage, you don't want to drink too much water, because what happens is, if you think about, your kidneys are no longer working. The more water you drink, the more like your kidneys have to filter out. And remember that I said at CKD5, your kidneys 85 to 90% is not working. So essentially, the more water you drink, the more work you're giving your kidneys, that 20% that's left is going to push your kidneys into overdrive. Also, with hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis, when you're using the outside dialysis machines, you don't want to drink too much water. There's actually, I think there's a restriction of, I think it's something like, you can probably give me, but I think it's literally something like you can only have 200 mils of water a day. It's really restrictive. And if you can think of, even in hot conditions, so in summer, whether you're in Ghana, imagine 200 mil of water, that's basically like 4 of that. That's like half of that. It's not much, and it's really restrictive, and you can't have, like you said, you can't have juice, you can't have salt, you have to have a very, very restricted diet when you're at CKD5. Again, obviously you will know it more, but you're quite right. So I think, thanks for bringing that point up. Of course, I didn't delve into that too much today, but I can go through that CKD5 and the restrictions if people are interested, but I suspect that not many people will be at that stage, fingers crossed. So I guess it was information that I didn't think, but thanks for bringing it up. I think it's really important. So yeah, if you have any more questions with regards to that, please do.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Doug.
No problem.
And then also there is something about that a kidney is not repairable. I don't know if it's the English word, if it's the right word. Like, it cannot go back to normal no matter what. Is that true, or is it because I tried to explain to her, and it was like, it's a German translation to tree, so she was like, did I understood her well? And I'm like, yeah, sorry for the disturbance, baby is crying. And so that the kidney does not go back to like the normal stage when it has reached it's not something like a cut that heals. kind of, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really got it right.
Yeah, no, you got it right. I mean, especially when it comes to that stage. So if you remember, I talked about acute kidney injury, and then there's chronic kidney disease. So when you've got an acute kidney injury, that's different because it's like having an injury, like you said, like a cut to your kidney. So that can heal and that can be okay once it's treated properly. But when you get to CKD, which is chronic kidney disease, at that point it becomes a disease and it's irreversible. So what you can do is you can try and maintain the kidneys from getting any worse, but you cannot reverse the effects of CKD. So yes, you did get it right, and unfortunately, that's where. And I really hope that your auntie, is able to get a transplant or something. So the only way to, like I said, to obviously cure that, then at that moment would be a kidney transplant. If not, whilst they're waiting for a kidney transplant, they will need to remain on dialysis. So whether that's hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis, but essentially that's. So yeah, no, you've got all the right information. And as I say, I'm more than happy for you to talk to me about that at any point if you need any help with that. And I'm really sorry that your family is going through that at this moment.
Thank you so much, Doug.
Okay. I'm going to take a question in the chat, which is from Letty, and she says, please, what causes abdominal cramps and fever? So, Letty, can you sort of expand on that question? Do you mean in relation to kidney disease, or are you just talking in general? And I'll come back to your question. We'll let Patricia ask her question, and once you've answered that question, I'll come back and answer for you. Okay, Patricia.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Patrol, my question kakra. My pre-diabetic na doctor checkie. But one mommy metformin seminum a best shrinky sugar no. As a minim so be a when your diabetes and cassa name muntias a chile drink. You is name fair bimo.
Yeah, that's interesting because also we are pre-diabetic.
I was me 51.
Oh, okay. And is that the second time while you're 51 and I said that's the best?
I'm 45. Then me ye be a chepa and no me call and say as a basurant, me try we see and you bit me a manako.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. From what I know, say from above 48 diabetes until you're 51, and then likely they're thinking say it's more diabetic. But the diagnosis of diabetes in the UK, and I'm assuming so UK practitioner. Okay. The diagnosis of diabetes in the UK is 2 readings of above 48. So when you're just 1 reading of 51, then we can say hey, you're still not diagnosed with it. But I'm thinking of what maybe your GP is trying to do, and so your GP is trying to just start you on the medication, because oftentimes now you're 45 and I walk off 51, and I'm sure say my catch will say come for repeat test in about 3 weeks time, or any repeat blood test in the future.
Patron suggest I'm a request.
Okay, fine. So oftentimes, some Becca said do a repeat blood test, especially when we're doing it in Kesoka said we a repeat blood test in about 3 weeks time. And do a repeat blood test, then that's still above 48, then you will get the diagnosis of diabetes. However, once we start on medication, I think says because perhaps on no feel say repeat test and class still it will remain about 51. Do you know what shall say with the diabetes management? No, even though you're supposed to be pre. I don't know what they are making us say. Yeah, and I think that's what your GP is doing. He's just trying to think ahead. Say, okay, I think say no, we're 45 now. We're 51. In the next one, no more likely never cost. Instead, say a better train. I'm not cost. No, let's just start the treatment. I think that's what your GP is doing. But it will be important. Say you should talk to your GP to find out exactly why. I catch and say, oh, unim say a drone diabetes for one, and I'll say, oh, you're pre-diabetic. In the other, I was starting drone. And also, do you need to request for a repeat blood test? And I say, what is the process then going forward? How long are you going to take the metformin for? Are you taking it for life? And I say, is it just for, ask all, I will advise that you call your GP and ask all those questions. So now you have a clearer idea of what the plan is. Okay.
Dr. Coates, can I just quickly add to this? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Me patroni Paco Bisas a question, and I don't know what the GP has got in mind, but the NICE guidelines Eka says if it's a pre-diabetes now, they should advise you on lifestyle changes. And I think there's a website that they give to people who have got who are pre-diabetic to follow that, guidelines. No, and I said to go to gym and then lifestyle changes near, I am not happy. Number one, the treatment for what Miss Sister Anna say, I would say try as much as possible. Uber to me, get websites and other things to help you not cut down.
Auntie Amma, if I can just come in here, if I'm thinking what the GP is thinking, I think Osha and the first blood test, no order 45, so that would have put her at pre-diabetic. So because anything above 42 near pre-diabetes, I suspect. Again, I'm just thinking in the GP thinking now. I suspect that at that time, the GP would have started lifestyle changes, and this is now her repeat blood test after lifestyle changes, and the lifestyle changes have proved not to work because it's gone from 45 to 51. So the GP is just predetermined and said lifestyle changes now juma into she's gone into diabetic zone now. So the GP is just which she shouldn't be. The GP shouldn't be doing anyway, because according to NICE guidelines, that's not what we do. She has to have 2 readings. Until I may say, Sister Patricia, Nene GP Casa, because I don't know the full detail. Now she had a HbA1c test and a glucose test. Both of those tests came back high. Then she's actually diabetic now. But according to Sister Patricia, Nene says still she's pre-diabetic. So we are getting conflicting information. I said, Sister Patricia, ne doctor ne Casa. No, Bisane say, why that treatment? Is she still pre-diabetic or is she now diabetic? And how long that treatment? I may say, I understand where you're coming from, Auntie Amma, but I think, we need to get more information before we start saying, because we don't actually know what's been already done. What do you say?
Okay, but I mean, what can I say? Maybe I'll see you. Oh yeah, one call into the first one. She wasn't. I think so. From what she said, if I understood it, she wasn't even told so a pre-diabetic. Diabetic.
Hello, hi, I'm Sister Patricia. Please come.
Pacho one kasami a diabetic. Me koye blood test ne behu no. Wa mama anye glucose minim si etwe moja ne ye glucose ne kan dia by blood test nkwa na mkoye. Eno se me ye pre-diabetic na de beboa me ne se obo metformin no me ka se minim se me kunu ye diabetic nti onum bi. Ti me de minim se omo diabetes na nkasa na num ti ade nti no se me ye pre-diabetic no se me nso me nkonko num bi. Eno si ebe ma sugar na gina na nya omo ye diabetic ne nko a na wo se omo fa nti na kire ma adwo de ama mbe 2 weeks ni ba me mfa ba akokra.
Yeah, and well anyway, so but me bisa first time no unya 45 no. That time no catch also we are pre-diabetic on my lifestyle changes, like on my exercise, need food to eat, this and my advice.
No cry or no one nurse ni ma me call classes BCHH in Yania no movie no more register gym na my ye me go to do operation tia se me and call gym no any tia free and yamia do ma me ho ye na osa kwamia na request ya mkoye ya o kasa me free.
Yeah, it's one Auntie Amma, someone dynamic. So they've done the lifestyle part of things.
Yeah.
Me think that and I suspect I said they would have done, but I think that the thing that is strange here and the fact that you're starting your metformin without having given you diabetes diagnosis. So I think that Sister Patricia, my advice to you would be say, Oko back now ni GP Nikasa, ask yourself, so how long are you supposed to take the metformin for? And when next would they check your blood test? And I said, what's the next steps after this? Because if she's saying you're not diabetic, then how long are they going to keep you on that medication for? I know some metformin helps with the blood glucose, of course, but according to NICE guidelines, we don't give it to people who are pre-diabetic. So we need to find out why exactly she's doing it and how long they want to do that for. So I think that would be the plan. I don't know if Auntie Amma wants to add anything.
You see, I reserve for some of my comments. I don't want to say anything, but the only advice I would give to Sister Pat and say, try as much as possible to do the things now on casa, exercise and then lifestyle change and then now we try and cut down on the carbs, carbohydrates, and then one casa monitor because from what you are saying, also for 2 weeks in the end, won't fire a drone. But I don't want you to say won't fair drone and then you won't do anything about what is going on. It's either say as Dr. Koska and overcall back to the GP, and now I could be service and same. But before so overcall me patrol your homework here because sometimes no call GPs no now name your kana they will just they will just give you anything.
Yeah, because metformin should not be treated anyway.
It shouldn't be. But that is my biggest issue now. Make I say, it's like Uber to me. I mean, my advice to you is try as much as possible to get certain things wow to reduce your blood sugar, cut down on carbohydrates. Near beginning, and then take that.
Auntie, I have to go until I answer questions too. But the another thing I want to say is so will be to me so I can ask for another GP so that you can have a second opinion. Because sometimes if you go to the same GP, maybe I don't know, and some GPs are not up to date with everything. Maybe another diabetes is not their strong way. Maybe I try to see if you can get a different GP and ask for a second opinion. That would be helpful too. I'll leave it here for today. Maybe we'll come back.
Dr. Kosu, just one question. Don't you do fasting blood tests and other things before you start with metformin? Sorry.
Not necessarily. So if the HbA1c comes back elevated twice, then we don't need to do. We just need 2 glucose blood tests. So it can either be a HbA1c or fasting glucose. It doesn't have to be.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so I think there was so I'll answer Letty's question and then Mami Kunedu, you'll be my last question and then I'll take it from there. But yeah, once again, thank you all for coming. It's been a really interesting session. And somebody gave me a private message to say, but she is right to do. And I think Auntie Amma, they were talking about you, saying that you are right. So, so well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Letty said in general, what causes abdominal cramps and fever? Well, this is a loaded question. Anything can really cause it, especially, but I think fever is basically caused mostly by infection and sort of inflammation. So sometimes pain can actually cause you to have fever as well. So I don't know exactly how to answer that question because it's very broad, but essentially, even if you have a cold, if you have a bacterial infection, urine infection, any infection can give you fever. So that's one thing. Abdominal cramps again, that can be for females in particular, you can get that on your menstrual cycle, but you can also get that during sort of something called gastroenteritis, which is just infection of the tummy. So if you've had like some bad food or infection in the stomach, which causes you to have diarrhea, vomiting, that sort of mostly. You can also have abdominal cramps from things like appendicitis or any infection in the tummy. So if you think about the organs in the tummy, you've got your kidneys in the back here, you've got your appendix, your liver, your stomach and your intestine. So anything that affects those things can give you abdominal cramps. Exercising as well. So if you've got really tight abdominal muscles, you've been to the gym and you've really over-exercised your muscle, you can get abdominal pain and cramping from that. So it's really, there are a lot of things which can contribute to the two separately. The two together, if you've got abdominal cramping and fever, then I'm more worried about something like a gastroenteritis, or like I said, you've got infection of your intestines, of your gut, intestines and your stomach and something like that, or really bad period cramps. So if you've got something like endometriosis, that can actually give you abdominal cramps and fever, because like I said, if your body is in a lot of pain, you can actually start to generate almost a fever type thing. So depending on where you're at or the kind of symptoms you're having, we'll have to ask a few more questions, and then we'll have to choose a pathway to say whether we're going gynecological or whether we're going down the GI route. But if you've got abdominal pain, cramps and fever, and especially if your fevers are higher than 38 degrees and they're lasting longer than 5 days, I will advise you to get that checked out. If you've got abdominal cramps, fever, you've got diarrhea and vomiting, again, I will advise you to get that checked out as well, because you might need some antibiotics. So it really depends, but that's a loaded question, and I can do a whole show about just abdominal pains and fevers. So yeah, I hope that helps. Mami Kunedu, I'll take your last question and then we'll move on.
Okay, thank you. I just came across a podcast on the internet that's saying that salt is good for us because even when you're sick, when you go to the hospital, what they give to you is salt. So basically, salt is good for the body. But I'm a little bit confused here. Salt is not good because it's iodine is not good for the body to take. So what exactly is good for the body?
So when you go to the hospital and they give you a drip, it is basically 0.9% sodium. So if we're talking about salt, we need to think about why do we give the salt? Sodium is good for the body because sodium, good and bad. So sodium is basically exists in every cell in our body. It helps with cell metabolism. It helps in the heart muscle. It helps with every tissue in our body. And sodium basically helps move water around the body. So even if we talk about kidney filtration, sodium is a big part of how the kidney filters water out of the body. If you've got low blood pressure and you need to increase your blood pressure, your kidney will keep more salt to draw more water into the body to lift your blood pressure. If you have a high blood pressure, your kidney will get rid of salt to get rid of water so that your blood pressure can be regulated. So your body regulates salt itself, and salt is a very important component of the body. So yes, in a way, salt is good for the body, but our body makes salt in its own way. The problem with salt is we overuse salt. And that is the honest problem. If you think about the percentage of salt that we give you at the hospital is 0.9%. A pinch of salt has more than that. So if we're saying salt is good for the body, yes, it is good for the body, but actually salt exists in every single thing that we eat. So if you're cooking and you're adding salt to you're adding salt to your rice, your stew, your chicken, your beef, we're having too much salt. So yes, even though salt is good, we need to eat it in moderation. And that's why I say just cut out salt from your cooking, because the honest truth is, even if you don't cook with salt, the chances are you will eat something that has salt in it. If you're eating a crisp or you're eating a chocolate bar in a day, you will have salt in it. So if you're not cooking with salt, you're still getting your salt anyway. So why cook with salt? This is my point. So that's what I mean by just cut out salt from your diet, as much as you can. Don't add it when you don't need to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think somebody sent me a private message about what to, again, so someone said, can I talk about reducing inflammation? I'll try and see if we can put that in next week. I think Dr. Mustafa Abdul Mumin is here. He's not going to talk about it. I'll just say, hi, I know you're here. The squad are traveling, so Dr. Mustafa will be taking some of the sessions next week, I think. So he'll be here talking about, I think he might talk about the acute kidney injury, or he might talk about something else, but I'll liaise with him and let you know what will be on next week. But thanks, Mustafa, for being here, and thanks for taking the reins while we're not here. I'm sure you guys miss him. It's been a while he's been here, so yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Stick away to talk about the Shito.
Oh yes, we've missed you, Dr. Mustafa. I was going to say,
Dr. Mustafa, I've sent a search party.
Auntie Amma, it's you. Because of this Shito business, you're chasing him. He's not coming anymore. Please, let's have him.
But he'll be here next week, so it'll be exciting to see him. But
I was late. Where are you hosting and talking at the same time? Where is
Dr. Kojo is at work, and Miss Abena has Lady Abena has she's got a deadline at work, so she's working. She's still at work currently. So unfortunately, today has been myself hosting and bringing it. But I hope it's not been too bad. It was a bit slow.
No, it's very, very good. But can I ask, why did we meet from Miss Abna to Lady Abna? Did Miss Abna meet a lord somewhere and we didn't know?
He's been knighted, but we will talk about that on another day.
Okay. We can't wait for that, can we, family?
But yeah, so no, thank you guys all so much. I have to go to work. I start work in the next 10 minutes and I'm still at home, so I'm gonna be quick and go. Somebody's asked for our contact details, so I'm just trying to put it there, but I'm just trying to find it. But in the meantime, TAPTAP, they'll give us an advert. Thank you so much. Just to end on the note, thank you so much for everybody.
Before you go, did you answer Nancy's question? I might have missed that. I came in late. Something about
so many questions.
Hey, come on,
can you please come back next week, because I have to go to work. I'm really
yes. Do you need a lift? I can fly you over. Uncle Sam is here. Uncle, send a jet, please.
So what I will do is I will thank you all so much for coming today. Again, it's been so nice to have you all on the show. Again, we'll meet next week with Dr. Mustafa and then the week after. But if you need to catch us, TAPTAP is just going to give us some adverts, and I'm going to look for our details and put it in the chat. So you can contact us with the details in the chat in about 5 minutes time. But thank you so much for being here. It was lovely to see you all. Have a great week and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you, bye. Doc. Have a nice time at work.
My chef and party planner. You know we can't get this retirement/birthday shinding go wrong.
Everything is almost ready, but small problem.
Why? What's up?
We are way over budget, Kweku. Everything is almost twice the estimate.
Alibaba, okay? No worries. So with TAPTAP Send, I have got a cake and decorations covered from here. You handle the food. If any extra expenses comes up, just text me or call me. I'm off today, so I should be easily reachable.
Hey, Chairman, it is all day.
Say, no be easy. Your chairman has time and money.
Allah,
Kweku tap, Kweku do, Kweku that.
Our chairman can't call you.
Hey, Alande, chairman send them.
TAPTAP Send. Papa no.